Bam, what's goody? Jordan Baywood here, and today I'm going to be explaining bussing and grouping. I tried to find tutorials like this on YouTube, but I had a very long learning curve on this too. It took me a really long time to completely understand because nobody really explains it. So I want to be the one to explain it to some of you guys so you guys can understand it. It's a very confusing concept. So I want to talk about the first thing, what is bussing? So bussing is just you're sending an audio plugin to its own channel, and grouping is you're putting a bunch of audio tracks together and you can put plugins to affect them all as one. So first I want to get right into it, just use it on a project and show you why I would use bussing and grouping. Now the point of bussing and grouping is to save time, so it's definitely valuable. However, I only use bussing and grouping when I have a lot of tracks or when I'm producing. Now the reason why you'd want to use bussing, if we go here in a Logic project, you can see that I only have 5 audio tracks, and this is for a vocal mix I'm doing for an artist, Joey Holly. Amazing artist, definitely check them out. So I don't have that many, so I don't gotta really worry about bussing, reverbs, and effects. So you'd only want to bus, and let's say this clip. I'm gonna send something to right here. The bus don't matter. They're just giving you plenty of buses to choose from. So let's just choose 14, and then let's choose a reverb. Now on buses, you want to keep the mix at 100. That means you're gonna get the full effect. So that's controlling the dry and wet. Now, if I wanted reverb on this vocal over here, all I would do is, okay, I know where to put the reverb, it's right here. I can just put it how much I want. So now on each track, I can have different amounts of reverb, but it's using the same reverb instead of multiple different plugins. So instead of putting a reverb on this track, and then being like, oh, I like the decay short, I like the 5K hertz, I like the low cut 500. Boom, on this one, I kind of want the same one. And then, oh, I forgot what it was, so I gotta go back here, and then I gotta go on this one, and then I gotta copy it, and then I gotta paste it. Now, the problem with doing it that way is that you're gonna use so much power on your computer, and it's gonna slow your computer down because you're using different plugins on every single track. You see how bussing only uses one reverb, and now any track I want reverb to use it. So when you're using main things like reverbs and delays, you're more likely using the same reverb across the whole song on all the vocals, but you could be using different amounts. And the bussing is giving you different amounts. You think of bussing as just like a dry, wet knob. That's all it is over here. You know, the higher I put it, the more wet it's gonna be. Just like if I have a reverb directly on the chain, if I mess with this mix, the higher the mix, the more reverb you're gonna have. The whole purpose of bussing is to save you time and save you CPU on your computer. So now, with vocal mixing, I don't necessarily use bussing anymore because a lot of people don't record that many vocals. So it's not necessary to bus, and it actually doesn't save me time. I would rather use my vocal presets and put them directly on there like this. We go to Vocal Sauce for Logic, and I directly have everything on there. Now, some people would say, oh, well, it's reverb and delay sounds better on a bus. Well, it doesn't, because it's the same thing as a dry, wet knob. See, if I open up my vocal presets, which you can check out using a link below for Logic Pro, you can see that the dry is down to 13%. So I have a reverb at 13%, so let's say that. All right, so it would be the same thing as putting a send to a bus, putting this reverb on there at 100%, and having my bus up a little bit. So it'd be directly the same thing as having it on there, and it's no different. Another reason maybe you would want to use a bus when you don't have that many tracks is, let's say you want to affect the reverb differently. You want the reverb to go way out into the sides, and you want it to go left and right. So what I would do is I would bus the reverb, and then after the reverb, I would put a tremolo. I would go to modulation, tremolo, and I would put this, it's gonna make it go left and right. Now I'm just affecting that reverb, and I'm not affecting the whole vocal. So when you want to add effects to effects, then you can bus. But remember, just busing is just used for save time and save CPU. It's really not that big of a deal. It is confusing to a lot of people, but that is busing. You just want to use it when you have a bunch of vocal tracks and you want to use different amounts of effects on certain things. Like you're always going to have a reverb. Most of the time you're going to have a delay. Maybe you have flanger, maybe different effects, and you just want different amounts on every vocal. So that's when you'd use a bus. So then groups would be saying, hey, let's say these two vocals right here. Let's say this is verse 1, even though it's not. Let's say verse 1, verse 2. Let's say, what if I want the same exact effects on there, but I don't want to duplicate like this? And see how I do have the same effects on both channels now, but I don't want to use double the plugins because that means now your computer is going to go slower. The more plugins you use, the slower your computer is going to be, and it's going to process a little slower. So some people would say, okay, well, this is what I do actually. Okay, so I double click on the track, I create track stack after I mix one part of the vocal, and what I do is I click on this track and I drag all the plugins over. Okay, we're not gonna drag this bus over just because we're not using a bus in this one. I just want to explain that to you. So we're gonna drag them over. Let's just reset this track. Now if I drag this track into this group, this track is going to be affected by all these plugins. It's a group. So then a lot of people will record verses in like 5 parts. So they'll do a 4-bar, 4-bar, 4-bar. So it's nice to just group them all so you're using the same plugins on all tracks. So I can put all the vocals in here, you know, that I want the same vocal mix. So it'd be like main vocals, I would call this. And then close it. Now I got space. You know, I like having space. I like being organized. And I'd be calling this like, let's say this is dubs. So let's say, you know, I have my main vocal mix and then these dubs, let's say I just want them to be spread out to the side. So what I normally do is I would duplicate this group. I would drag this up there to organize myself. And then I would simply go on this chain, add a chorus. Go to modulation, add a chorus, and boom, now it's gonna be spread, but it's gonna still be mixed the same. Then we can just maybe lower the volume a little bit. So that is grouping. Grouping's very nice when you're recording, you know, multiple parts of a verse. You just want the same vocal mix and you wanna just do it on one track. So that's what I do. But I always start off my tracks with one of my vocal presets because it just saves so much time. And like I said, when someone sends like over 20 vocal tracks, I will bus and group heavy. But if you don't have that many vocal recordings, especially if you have one vocal track, which I get a lot to mix, just one, I just go through my presets and everything's on one track, easy for me to hurry up and switch out. If I need a bus, I'll just hurry up and put a bus on. I'll throw the effect that I want over there and turn the mix up all the way and the dry all the way down. So whenever you're doing bussing, you do the dry all the way down, the wet all the way up, and that's very important. And then you can affect it with the bus knob, which is the dry wet knob now. So it's really easy to, once you start off with vocal presets, to, you know, hurry up and bus when you have a lot of vocal tracks. But other than that, you don't need to use busing. But, you know, I'm glad that Logic has that power because they made it to save time and save us CPU. So if you have any questions about that at all, please leave your questions down below. I answer everything, I swear to you. And if you gained any value from this video at all, please give it a thumbs up. It really helps the channel. And such a small channel like mine, we're just growing, and I'm so happy this community is growing. But be on the lookout for some Waves presets for Logic Pro coming out very soon. Are actually working on the product boxes. They're almost finished, so I'm waiting for that. I just want it to be perfect. And other things that are coming out is down below you can get free vocal presets and a free vocal mixing cheat sheet if you're into that. And like I said, if looking for a vocal preset pack to instantly make your vocals sound professional, click that link down below and check out my vocal preset pack for Logic Pro. I think you guys will thoroughly enjoy it. Those who got it, I mean, they're loving it. People are emailing. We got like 35-star reviews on it already, which is insane. And yeah, so I'm really excited about that. But if you're not subscribed, hit that subscribe button because, you know, I'm being consistent right now with 2 videos a week just because I want to be doing 3, but I just want to have a little bit higher quality content. I want to, you know, just really make sure that I'm making the best tutorials possible. So I'm pretty much like making 4 a week, cutting 2 of them, and then taking the best 2 tutorials and putting them out. And yeah, so that would be basically it. But if you have any questions, just let me know and let's get to it. Keep making bangers and hit me up if you ever need anything. Peace.